There's a beautiful moment, at least I think it's a beautiful moment. There is somewhat of a turning point here, at least for me, with David's consciousness as to what has gone on. It's in chapter 16, and it's a very brief scene. It is a curse by Shimei, son of Gera. He comes to David. It's chapter 16, verse 6. He hurled stones at David and at all King David's servants, and all the troops and all the warriors were at his right and at his left. And thus Shimei said as he cursed, get out, you man of blood, you worthless fellow. The Lord has brought back upon you all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose place you became king, and the Lord has given the kingship into the hand of Absalom your son. And here you are because of your evil, for you are a man of blood. And Abishai said to the king, why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me pray, cross over and take off his head. And the king said, what do I have to do with you, O sons of Zeruiah? If he curses, it is because the Lord has said to him, curse David. And who can say, why have you done this? And David said to Abishai and to all his servants, look, my son, the issue of my loins seeks my life. How much more so then, this Benjaminite? Leave him be and let him curse, for the Lord has told him. Perhaps the Lord will see my affliction, and the Lord may requite me good for his cursing this day. Look at this. This is immediately after Absalom has taken over the kingdom, has stolen everyone's hearts. And what's David willing to say? Let this man curse me. He may be right as he's calling David a man of blood. And in some ways, it's not he may be right. It turns out he is in fact right. In general, that David's a man of blood. In fact, this is precisely why David won't be able to build the temple. 1 Chronicles 22:8. God says to him, you've spilled so much blood. There's some truth here. And I say this not to indict David, because I don't need to indict David. David indicts himself. What does he say? Let him curse me. Perhaps the Lord put these words in his mouth. This is David's humility coming to light here. The man who thought he could just simply sleep with Bathsheba and kill Uriah and nothing would happen. And then he could write and say, let it not seem evil in your eyes. Now look at what he's saying, that he may be right and the Lord may have put these words in his mouth. The old David, I would have just had him just lop his head off in a heartbeat. Not this David. This David seems to understand that he just bears responsibility for everything that's going down here. It's not an anger at Absalom. Verse 21, chapter 16. And Ahithophel said to Absalom, advising him, come to bed with your father's concubines, whom he left to watch over the house, and let all Israel hear that you have become repugnant to your father, and the hand of all who are with you will be strengthened. And they pitched a tent for Absalom on the roof. By the way, this is the very same roof in which David would have seen Bathsheba. This is where Absalom is pitching his tent. He came to bed with his father's concubines before the eyes of all Israel. And this is precisely Nathan's prophecy to David, that David's fellow man will in fact be his own son. And his own son is going to be this beautiful young man who's stolen all the hearts of Israel. Does this sound familiar? This is precisely what David had done with Saul. Not in a manipulative way. Please don't mishear me there. He didn't come to power the way in which Absalom has come to power. But nevertheless, what do we see happen to David here? His kingdom has gone over to somebody else. The prophecy has come true. David's entire world is come crashing down. He's lost his kingdom. He's lost his beloved son. He's had a son murdered and a daughter raped. He's lost an infant child. All of the world has come crashing down on David's head here. The prophecy has come true, and even more to the point, David's own judgment against himself with that fourfold vengeance has come to pass. And so what we'll look at next time is the defeat of Absalom, the death of Absalom, and David's response to it. and the restoration of the kingdom that will ultimately be handed over to Solomon.